So, welcome to the Adult Chair podcast, Kristen Numen.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Michelle.
I am so excited for today's show. I was just telling you, oh my goodness. Um, you've had quite an experience, my dear. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what happened to you when you died
Mhm.
and the information, the gifts, the experiences that you had while we were just talking about this over there, which is
Mhm.
not up there in heaven, like it's far, far away. It's actually like right here.
Right here. We're looking right at everything.
Right. And it's such a hard concept for us to understand that, but it's actually right here. But what happened to you when you died? So I am looking forward to having you share your experience. I have heard it and I was like, oh my goodness, I want you to be on the show to share with people because of course, that is a question that so many of us have, which is what happens when we die and is it scary and all of the things. And you've had such a beautiful and a profound experience. So I'm going to shut my mouth and I'm going to give you the floor. And we're just going to, I think we should just jump right into this because I'm going to I already have some questions based on your story because I've heard it. But for the audience, let's just start right from the very, very beginning. Tell us a little bit about yourself and then let's go right into it.
All right. So thank you again for having me here and having me share my story.
Mhm.
This is very raw. I honestly hope I always have the emotion because it's so profound. I never want that aspect to go away. So there's a lot of vulnerability here. So I'll be crying, laughing. It's like a dramatic comedy when you're talking and working with me. But um, my name is Kristen Numen. I actually spiritually awakened in the summer of 2016. So I am what people would call a psychic and a medium, an animal communicator. I do energy healing. I'm a teacher, an activator, and I love absolutely every aspect of this. I um, grew up very normal, very human. I was a banker for 15 years. So for me to be doing this, I'm all about living paranormally. This is more normal and more beautiful than people realize. So that's kind of my background. I am married to my high school sweetheart. We have a daughter who just turned 22, is in college, and will be graduating soon. And I have a lot of rescue fur babies, and that's me. And my husband is in construction, so he is typically up and out in the morning. So he is normally never home. Our daughter is a busy little bee. She, has two jobs, a lot of friends. She goes to the gym, college, all these different things. So she's never home in the morning either. So with that being said, November 3rd, 2023.
Mhm.
And I can cry just thinking of the date because that is my husband's birthday. My
Mm.
husband's birthday is November 3rd. And he said, I'm going to stay home for my birthday. And I run a group channeling class, and that morning, Friday morning, was a class, and it was 8:15 ish. I'm gonna go take my shower. Had the bedroom door closed here and left the shower, the bathroom door open. And my husband's like, I'm just gonna lay in bed. So he laid in bed. The dogs are on the bed with him. Our daughter was home in her room. She was supposed to leave and go out and decided not to.
Mm.
Um, so when I went in the shower, and let's talk about also my background, I have severe heart issues. I have supraventricular and ventricular tachycardia. My heart rate goes over 120 beats per minute. I have PVCs, some call them bigeminy if you're in like the medical field, but it's severe.
Mm.
Um, I have a lot of symptoms throughout the day, and the night can make me sick and dizzy and faint and all those things. So I have to be cautious and everything. Um, Tried all the medications. The medications didn't work. And that's a whole thing in itself because my higher self had told me why this occurred and just different things, which is interesting on its own. So I went in to take my shower, and I shampoo my hair first and everything. I turn and I look, and I always say, prayers and everything when I face the water. And I'm one of those people that leaves the conditioner in their hair. So I left the conditioner in my hair and turn and face the water. And then it was something happened. I instinctively felt it. There was no time to say help, anything.
Mm.
And I instinctively knew lean against the shower wall. And as soon as I touched the wall, my spirit came out of my body and I faced myself. And I could see myself. I knew what was happening in that moment it happened. I knew I had died, and it was a blink. God takes you out, so you do not feel that type of pain. So I came out, faced myself, and I slid down the shower and smacked my head on the marble right there. Fortunately, we don't have glass anymore in the shower, so it's a walk-in. So I hit my head, and the dogs heard the thud. And my husband said, well, whatever you did, you got the dog's attention. Kristen, Kristen. And he turned and looked and he could see my head and I was starting to turn blue. So he ran over. What I remember seeing, what I could see with my spirit was I saw myself fall. I knew exactly what was happening just because I've been doing this since 2016. When you do this kind of work, it really prepares you for a beautiful transition.
Mm.
And an awareness. And I'm blessed and grateful to have that. And when I tell you, it's like you flipped a switch. I was out. No pain, no nothing. It does not hurt. Does not hurt. There's no pain. I had hit my head, but I saw myself turn purple. I couldn't see my husband. I could see my daughter's face. It's like I zoomed into her face and she was just like her dad, just steadfast, focused, do what I got to do. And then I zoomed into the ambulance, and I could see them breathing for me, because they needed to get me stable. And that was me telling my husband, what I experienced, what I could see. So my husband was able to validate it. And he said, you turn blue first and then purple. And he had to keep doing chest compression. So this is why everything is just so divinely orchestrated in our
Mhm.
life. Because my husband was home. And if
Mhm.
our daughter was not home, he would have had to stop giving me chest compressions to call,
Mm.
get all we have two at the time, two dogs, two cats to put into a room, all these different things, for the paramedics to come. But he screamed for our daughter. She ran in the room and was able to call 911 so my husband can continue the chest compressions, because he said every time he would stop, I would start turning the colors again. So he had to keep me alive in that sense. So um and he was able to tell me, yes, you were turning colors. Yes, Emily was there and looking at you. And yes, they had to stabilize you. They actually came to me and he goes, it hit me, everything that was happening. He goes, but when the paramedics came over, when he was sitting in the truck, they were ready to go, and follow them. It was a hot minute. He said it took them a while and he was wondering why. And one of the paramedics came out and said, we have a pulse back.
Oh.
And I didn't have a pulse.
Mhm.
So fast forward, so you know how everything occurred, and it's still dumbfounding to me because I didn't see myself, or my husband. So it was like a total disassociation when I woke up and was figuring all this stuff out. Um, but I was intubated because I was unresponsive for, we'll say, 20 hours for the
Wow.
whole event.
Mhm.
So I was unresponsive. I wouldn't blink my eyes, move my fingers, my toes, that type of thing. I needed to be intubated for them to breathe for me and everything. So my my parents, live 40 minutes away or so. And my mom actually takes my channeling class and, we chat woo-woo stuff all the time and we love it. And she connected with her guides when they were on their way here and said, please, can you let me know that Christy is okay? Can you give me a sign that she's okay? So when she got to the hospital, the head nurse came over and, my nickname for my mom is the tree and I'm her apple because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And the nurse goes, hi, my name is Apple. I'm going to be taking care of Kristen today. And mom goes, what? And she said, I know my parents named me Apollonia. My friends call me Apple, and I'm Kristen's nurse.
Mm.
So beautiful name, but very rare. You don't hear that. So for my mom to ask for a sign and for it to be Apple, my nickname with my nurse. So when I transitioned and I, saw a few things, I went into the ambulance and I could see them breathing for me. I was, and I do have memories that still come back. I had things that came back yesterday, more realizations and everything, which my guides told me would start happening.
Mm.
So I had like this feeling of being backwards, being sucked out. And as soon as I went away or came out of the earthly realm, I went straight to God.
Mm.
I knew it was God. Um, and to describe, and I say he because my Catholic upbringing, but God is masculine and feminine, and just this energy of absolute unconditional love, joy, acceptance. Just there was nothing that you could do ever that could make this being not like you,
Mm.
and you
Mhm.
try and describe the love here. It's the love of your child, of your animal, of your spouse. It's just pure. And the look of God, of source, if you look, I'm in Florida, so the sunsets, when you have this really warm yellow color, that's the color of God.
Mm.
Warm, and you can look, it's not like you were squinting or anything like that. And I remember feeling I was what you would call dancing, because I was, wow, I forgot what this was like not having a body. But the biggest thing that I remember, and I was in God's presence at that time, was not feeling the lower vibrational feelings that we have. We carry such guilt and fear and anxiety and worry and shame and all of these lower vibrational feelings that we pile on ourselves. And there was none of that. And you are so free and light. And I'm grateful to be able to remember that. So when I'm feeling that now, I can bring that back into my present moment and assist myself.
Mm.
So I did we do have a being called our higher self. And my higher self was with me. I was like this ball of energy. So, you think your head is moving and your hands are moving, but it's just an awareness. You're just there. But it was when I was with God, the words were telepathic, and the words, they vibrate in every part of your being. I can't even describe that sensation. It's just a beautiful exchange of energy when you're telepathic in that way. And with a being that beautiful, that pure. So Source had said to me, what an amazing job you did. Look at you. Hey, you're back. You're here. We missed you. We love you. You did amazing. And it wasn't, oh, God's going to see all the bad things I did, or, it wasn't that at all. It was just pure reunion and joy.
Mm.
It was pure joy. And I know I always, I've been in banking for 15 years. And I remember when I became an adult and I graduated from high school, I always felt very childlike. And I always thought that was my biggest downfall, that people want to take me seriously and I need to be, I guess I always say an adult, I guess, was supposed to be stuffy and, prim and proper or something like that. I have no idea. So I tried that. It wasn't me. It didn't fit. I'm a total goofball. I'm weird. I'm crazy. I like funny things. It's just not me. And God had said, that's me. That's me. You know, you take on these characteristics from your parents and different quirks and different mannerisms. We get the same from God, right? So that was one of the things that I really took on, was this um, childlike aspect, and reasons why I'm able to channel beings that call themselves the circle children, that I didn't understand who they were. And I was introduced to them, I don't even know how long ago, we'll say 3, 4, 5 years ago, but I didn't quite understand until more recent as to who they were. And that's why I was able to channel them, because of this childlike aspect that Kristen has.
Mm.
So in this scenario with God, I did get a life review, and my life review was beautiful. And it's everywhere you look was a screen. Um, I say a screen, but it was just right there in front of you. And it's not about you, it's about everyone else that's in that view. It's
Mhm.
about their emotions.
Mhm.
So I wasn't I had someone that messaged me and said, wow, you must be a really pure soul to see all amazing things. But the way Kristen learns is, I get very hard on myself if I do something wrong. If I hurt
Mhm.
someone unintentionally, something like that, I really get hard on myself for that. So when I was shown my life review, I saw all the good, all the fun, all the joy, and all the love. So I could feel that from them. And
Mm.
I remember that, and I feel it now. And that's all I want to do, like for the rest of my life, is just spread it. So I had this life review in which there's certain scenes that I saw, and I told my mom about. I think I was a couple years old. Mom was wearing a blue dress, and I was handing her a flower, but I could feel her just love for me. And it was an amazing feeling to have, not having memory of being that tiny, you know?
Mm.
So when I had my life review, after that, I did go to, I don't even know what to call the area, because everyone was there. So I had said that I channel. I'm a
Mhm.
medium. I do animal communication. I channel guides. Everyone was there. My entire family, ancestors, faces I couldn't even see, loved ones were there, yes. But right in the front, a friend of mine in the spiritual community, I would channel for her often, and I would always bring through her young son that had passed. I believe he was like around 18 years old, that age. And I would always channel him. He was right in the front. Clear as day, I can still see his face. And he had this smirk. I'll never forget. He had this smirk, but one side of his lip was higher than the other in this smirk, and we embraced. And it was just, I was just so excited to see them,
Mhm.
because when I would channel and do mediumship, the biggest thing that I'm told by animals, because one that was hit by a car
Mm.
um, said, tell my mom that there's no pain, God takes you out. And they would always turn to me and say, Kristen, there's no pain. And I always thought, okay, they're just, I will just emphasize that again. But
Mhm.
now I understand that they were turning and looking at me because they knew this was happening.
Mhm.
And I need to remember to tell you something after this too. That's just true, just trippy. So there's just so much that played out in all of us. October 30th, the day, a few days before.
Mhm.
So God takes you out so you don't feel pain. Because remember, there's mind, body, spirit.
Mhm.
And the spirit can be out, but the body still is there. And the body still feels and will move. Look at the eyes. The eyes will tell you, because the eyes are the windows to the soul. My daughter, um, her and my niece, I think it was on Easter or something, they were taking these glasses and would put it up to our faces and take pictures so you can see the eyeball even
Uh-huh.
better. But she's fascinated with eyes because it looks like the nebula, right? It looks like the
Mm.
universe because it's not just brown or black or green or blue. The depths of colors that are in there, you can have browns with the blues and gray, and absolutely stunning when you really look at someone's eyes. And when I was intubated, um, Emily got all excited because my eyes opened, and the nurse said, "Sweetie, she's not there. It's just the body's reaction." And Emily said, "When I saw your eyes, you weren't there.
Oh.
They were flat, and it wasn't you." Just like when you go to grab a hand and you take that for granted. And, when you, like, I'll rub with my thumb or something, she goes, "Your hand was just so heavy when I would try and hold it. And, you'd keep pushing on it, like, move." And it was just so heavy. But she said when she saw my eyes, you just weren't there. So look at someone's eyes to be able to tell if they're there or not. Because I know some people do go in and out, especially if it's dementia or something like that they're going through.
Mhm.
But when I was on the other side with family, with loved ones, and just seeing all the ancestors and all of these guides, and then I had my choice. Did I want to stay or did I want to go? And I remember when I first came back, and it was like, no, I was coming back. I was coming back, and I couldn't face the idea that I would have said no or even thought no, because I guess I felt guilt with that. But I did have to decide.
Mhm.
And I remember, oh, there's so many things. I'll need to backtrack, and I hope I'm not confusing. But I brought my awareness to my husband, to my family, and I'm like, oh, I love them. I love Kristen and I love this life. And I'm going back. There's so much more that I could do. So, when you pray for people, please understand that spelling, words, thoughts are real. It's energy. It's energy. You can't see it, but it is there.
Mhm.
And it goes with the intention that you put into it. So when I
Mhm.
was with God, and I had a friend that said, "I saw you look like the sun." And this is before I even shared any of my story with anyone, and was still trying to absorb what happened and what I saw. I said, "Let me validate that for you." So when I was with God, I had all of a sudden, all of these lights came on me, and I looked like the sun. These rays of light were all on me. And I remember bringing my awareness down, and Source said, "Look down. You can look at one light and go there." So
Mm.
I could look and I could hear Kristen, Chrissy, Kristen, Kristen. Some were yelling, some were mad, some were yelling, like, "You get back here, Kristen Ann." And others, it was Chrissy, Chris. And I could just hear how everyone's nickname for me, how they were, but I could, and I don't have conscious awareness of it, but I know that I looked and I was able to just go there, if that makes sense.
So they were all the prayers that were coming at you.
It were all the prayers from everyone.
Wow. Now, did
That
you feel it or just hear it?
both.
Wow.
I could feel, hear, it's all of your senses on the other side
Mhm.
are all together.
Yeah.
So I could feel it, I could see it, I could hear it, and I knew it. And when you go and you bring your awareness and your intention to that one ray of light, I can go to that person
Mm.
and I could see them and I could hear that individual prayer, and then I can zoom back out and go to another light and go to that person. So prayers are heard, prayers are felt. So when I came back, I knew how loved I am. And that's a blessing in itself,
Mm.
because it's a gift that some people don't get to have the awareness to know that they're loved, really loved.
Mhm.
But when I chose to come back, I was taken to, I call it the Great Hall, the Akashic Records, the Hall of Learning. And it was the walls. Now, the color on the other side. The color there is so vibrant. The colors are alive and vibrant. Nothing like here. If those that are clairvoyant that can see in their mind's eye, you get a taste of these glorious colors that you can see in your mind's eye that are otherworldly, because they
Mhm.
are. So the walls, it was like this ancient building, but it was clean. It was white, white, white. The white was just glowing, and the walls went as high up as I could see. But I remember this huge paned window, and I remember the black panes that were on this window. And I could see a couple of planets out there. And this is something new that just came back to me yesterday. So when I was sitting there at this table, for those that are familiar with Harry Potter, the Marauder's map that moves around and you can see people's footsteps and everything, it was kind of like that, in the sense of I could see, and I can plan out this lifetime. How long am I going to live? When am I going to exit? Am I going to have other opportunities to exit before I actually, that kind of thing? Do I
Mm.
have another near death experience? All this other stuff. But I remember saying, "Oh, we're going to make it good." So I'm like, "Okay, well, what was it?" Because I don't remember that. So I'm like, "Why would you have me remember that? That's like torture." But I remember my higher self with me. I
Mm.
remember two beings in front of me, and all I see is just light with them. I don't remember who they are specifically, but they're part of my divine team.
Mhm.
But I was running the show. I was calling the shots and saying what I'm going to experience, what I'm going to do, and what's going to happen. And after that is when I came back. Um, I'm still absorbing what I was shown with the planets and the information I received yesterday. Um, but it has to do with astrology and how important that is in our life and everything as well. That's why I saw planets, and they're very relevant and very much in my chart, and I understand. Um, and still absorbing and learning more about that. But when I came back, I was I was back. I was
Mhm.
back. And they didn't know for what, 20 hours or so, am I going to make a full recovery? Did I have, they, did CT scans and heart exploratory and all these different things, because I had hit my head. They had to do staples in my head
Mm.
and all of the things. And my husband said, "Kristen, you were non-responsive." So when I had said, when I decided to come back, I came back. He's like, without a doubt, there was a flip of the switch. And I was like, because they strap you down. And I don't have memory of that.
Mhm.
I had a piece of a memory of not being able to talk and having the sensation of the tube down my throat, which freaked me out one morning because
Mhm.
I could remember that, but I was pulled out of it. But I couldn't communicate. My husband had to say to me, "Kristen, you fell in the shower and you're in the hospital," and all of that. But I also, because of the sedation, they had to come and sedate me more so that my husband could sleep, because they're like, "Okay, she's back. Let's have her rest, and then we can assess her again." Because I was really fighting, and they needed me to calm down so they can, I guess, assess my vitals and all of that. So when I woke up and that they took the tube out, my mom said, "Kristen, it was night and day, because we saw you one day and you were not there." And when my parents walked in the room, and remember I said I had the conditioner in my hair? Well, I had this one like Dr. Susie curly cue that stuck out the side of my head. So when I turned and looked, I was like, "Hi, Mom." And she said, "You had the look you did when you were a child.
Mm.
Just what I mean by that is there's no weight of the world that was on me. I was just in absolute pure bliss and joy. I was happy to be back. I knew I had an experience. I remembered, I don't even know what I remember at that point, because I don't remember the first 4 days in the hospital, and I barely remember the last two. I was in there 6 days.
Mhm.
And um, well, my mom came in and she saw me. She goes, "That was the same look when you were a child." And best friends of mine, John and Suzanne, came in to visit me, and she saw me intubated as well and sat with me for a bit. And John had said, "Kristen, what did you see?" And Suzanne said, Kristen, when I tell you, I couldn't remember more than 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So this was November 3rd. I still had, the decals on my nails from Halloween. So I'm like, did you see my nails? And I would say it like every 2 seconds because I kept forgetting. So I'm like, oh, the patient everybody had to have with me, that patience. But everything people were asking, because the nurses said to my family, ask her what her name is and make
Mm-hmm.
sure she can remember things. But Suzanne said I was fishing. You could see I was looking up and my eyebrows, and she goes, your whole face, you could just see that you were trying to put things together and trying to find the answers. But as soon as her husband said, Kristen, what did you see? She was, without hesitation, without even thinking about it, I was with God.
Mm.
And whatever else I had said to him at that time. So, and I was just, and when I was in the hospital, I remember funny stuff. It wasn't, yes, this big thing happened to me, but I kept forgetting about it. So and they actually wrote it down. And my husband would look down and say, look on your lap. Cause I'm like, why am I here? What happened to me? And I would pick it up and it said, you fell in the shower. And I looked at him and I'm like, you fell in the shower? Are you okay? I had to change the wording to I fell in the shower because I kept going, are you okay? You fell in the shower. And he goes, who's in bed? So, I mean, I had staples in my head and things like that. Even when it was the decision to give me a defibrillator, I'm like, no, let me go home. Let me see if I want to do it. My husband's like, you died. You're getting a defibrillator. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I died. So I was like, okay. Okay. So it was just a whole thing. But when I came back and I came home, my husband would tease me because we had gone out to dinner like a month after this happened. And we were in the car and I remember seeing the sunset and I just say out louder in my head, hi, God.
Mm.
Even though God's always here, it was just seeing that color. It's like, hi, I know that's your color. That's what you look like. And Ray said, are you okay? He goes, because you kind of look like you're going to kill Batman because I had this smile on. I guess that was creepy. I don't know. But, we joke around. We speak fluent sarcasm in our house. So he's like, because you kind of look like you want to kill Batman. But it was just pure, I was just content, happy, and just joyful. And just
Mm.
that feeling of, and I still can bring that feeling back, but I am back in my body again. So I have to sit and just, allow that to come back to me. But it was just pure joy and pure peace.
Wow. Thank you. I love this. What a story. I mean, unbelievable. And I'm so glad that that you decided to come back and share with all of us. And
Me too.
yeah, thank
And I
you.
had my 45th birthday. So that happened in April. So it was a bittersweet day that day because it's like, I'm alive. I made it to 45. Like
Yeah.
I died at 44 and it just hits you.
Yeah.
So,
God. Well, I'm glad you're back. You said a few things that I'd like to get a little bit more information on.
okay.
Um, okay. How's your heart now? I was just curious. Are you better than before? Did anything happen since your near-death experience?
So I still have my severe heart issues. That didn't go
Mm-hmm.
away.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why, because that was actually told to me, a whole big thing with that with my higher self. So I technology is amazing because the defibrillator is not a pacemaker. So it is like having a Holter monitor on all the time, which is amazing because I'm highly allergic to the nodes and the goop on the nodes. So I could not wear a Holter monitor. So
Mm-hmm.
having this on, I have a unit that's next to my bed that I actually have a black obsidian there too, just
Mm-hmm.
for the
Mm-hmm.
crystal
Oh
people
yeah.
out there, to help
Oh
with the
yeah.
energies. But I wasn't thrilled about that, but I'm like, but we can remedy this. This is okay. And spirit told me exactly what to do. So the defibrillator will recognize a life-threatening rhythm and shock my heart, and
Okay.
then send notification to my physician. But I just found out too that it will recognize if I'm in a dangerous rhythm and I'm not shocked, it will still send it to
Mm.
my specialist, my cardiac specialist, which is
Oh,
really,
great.
I get so many different things that it just makes me feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know,
my gosh.
we can
That makes
see.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yes.
So I want to talk a little bit about the Hall of Records or the Akashic Records. Talk about that around our life. So you obviously chose to come in with this heart. Well, I want you to put it in your words. Do we choose our parents? Do we choose our life? All of that. Let's talk a little bit about that.
We choose everything. We choose how we come
Mm.
in, who are our parents, our family, the traumas that we wish, because this is, I hate calling it a game. This is about experience.
Yep.
We're here to experience. And do we awaken during this experience or do we stay asleep?
Hmm.
How does all of that work? Okay, I'm going to wake up here. I'm going to have an opportunity to wake up here and we'll see what she does, like that kind of thing. What is Kristen's ego going to do? We choose our name. We choose everything, all of the experience and
Mm.
everything. And we choose when and how we pass.
Mm.
So please understand that um, I this person was alone. I wish I was there. I should have been there. I walked out of the room to get a cup of coffee and this person passed. It's because they couldn't pass with you there. We say, okay, I'm going to pass on my own. I'm going to pass with them there. It is all divine. And
Hmm.
it is because our soul and our spirit wishes to pass in that way and come in this way and all of the things.
Mm. I think, I mean, I've heard this and read this in books for, gosh, 20 some years around the whole fact that we do plan our lives. We pick our parents. And it's a hard one, of course, for people to hear.
Yes.
Typically, people will say things like, well, why would I pick a family where there was fill in the blank? Abuse. Someone died. My mother died when I was 2. Like, why would I choose a family like this where there was so much heartache?
Yes.
So what do
Yes.
you say to that?
Because our spirit, our soul wishes to experience that.
Hmm.
And what do we do with that? What does our
Hmm.
ego do with that?
Yeah.
We can fall into this pit of despair and just be depressed and have just a miserable life. Or do we choose to take that grief, that trauma, and that pain and rise above that and be of service to others to share how to overcome it and live your heaven on earth and spread
Mm.
that to others? Spirit doesn't see good and bad. That's a human thing. Good, bad, right, wrong. They see
Mhm.
it as experience and they celebrate us in all of it.
Mhm.
I handled the situation poorly and I'm devastated and I'm crying. Good, good for you. Feel it. I overcame it and I didn't sit in it as long. That's wonderful. Good for you. We're so proud of you. So you have these cheerleaders that are right in front of you all the time that we can't see, but you can if you tap in and feel and see in all of these different ways. So I hope that helps at least a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it sounds like, again, we either take the path of the ego or we can take the path of the soul or the higher self, right? With everything and with
Yeah,
everything. And the ego is
everything.
the only part of us that judges if it's good or bad. The soul loves everything.
Like everything experience. It's
It's an
about
experience. Yeah. Yeah. And it's how we see it and how we work through it. So I love that. Talk a little bit about, and I want to hear a little bit more about your life reviews. So when we die, we go through what's called a life review. Now, did you go through a life review where I heard you say that you felt your mother's love, right?
Mhm.
But I also have read many, many times and heard other people say that they also feel, let's say, with someone that you hurt, you feel their pain. Did you have that sort of life review?
No.
Okay.
I didn't see anything I did wrong. And
Mm.
that's why when I first started talking about this, and I had received an email from a sweet soul and said, you must be this really amazing being to have such a great life review. No, it doesn't mean that I'm like this perfect angel. No, I've done stuff, like I'm not
Yeah.
perfect. But the way that Kristen learns and spirit knows, the way I learn is I'm very hard on myself already. So
Mhm.
they wanted to show me the joy because that's my trigger. That's what ignites my light. Is
Mm.
the joy, the happiness, the funny, the everything that ignites, and being able to feel that and bring that feeling and that experience back into my human being. That's all I want to do. It's like I'm almost addicted to it. I ordered my mom flowers and sent it to her, and I'm like a kid raised like you're a kid, like she'll get the flowers, but I'm like I couldn't wait because I was excited about how they looked, and I picked them, and it was just like I could feel it, and I could see random snippets with everyone close to me in my life. But it
Mm.
wasn't even just those that were close to me. It was, and this is recent that I'm able to remember this.
Mhm.
Um, it was bumping into someone in the grocery store that you don't know. I love your hair. It's gorgeous. Oh
Mhm.
my gosh, thank you. And that person was having a bad day.
Oh.
And you don't realize that the words that you say can really impact someone,
Mhm.
really tear them down, or really lift them up.
Yeah.
So how do you want to leave your thumbprint, your fingerprint on this world? Do you want to be known to uplift people or judge and tear them down? But it is all a process, and it's all what we're meant to work through in this realm.
Mhm.
That's its experience. Again, there's no good, bad, right, wrong in the eyes of spirit. It's all about experience, how you interact with that. Okay, you have judgment. What is she going to do with it? That was the other thing, is we have things that we are destined to do, but it is like one of those, remember, was it Zelda, I think, that old game where you're able to interact with the game and get to choose what answer you want, and then you go
Mhm.
from there in this player game. That's what we're doing. You have all of these things that are lined up for you, but how you interact with it, that free will, is what
Mhm.
comes next. How do you react with this, and how do you react with that? And that's where law of attraction comes in, and all these other goody things too.
So, would you say that if we follow life from our heart, that we are then living a life through spirit or through soul? Or what would you say to that? Because I'm thinking about somebody that would be presented with a trigger, or somebody that is presented with, again, some experience that doesn't feel good. And if
Yes.
they've experienced this and they're sitting here beating up on themselves or blaming someone else, or and they're in a bad place,
Yes.
how do they then walk their way out of that? How do they work their way out of that? What's something that they can do right now to change their experience? Because that's really what's happening, is we're changing our experience that we're having. We're having an experience of blame, right? So what is it? What would you say to that?
Yes. So, okay, where do we want to start with this? Because there's like so many answers I want to give all at once. So when it comes to that, the head is our ego. That's
Hmm.
where the brain is. That's where the logic is. Also creativity and all these beautiful things. But when you're in the head, you're replaying scenarios over and over again. I should have said this. I should have done that. I'm going to do
Hmm.
this. And, all these different things. The heart is the connection to spirit. The
Hmm.
heart is the spirit brain. So what we really are, the goal, in my opinion, is brain heart integration and coherence.
Hmm.
So
Beautiful.
that way the ego responds in a more heartfelt way.
Yeah.
So where do we go? What is always there in every moment? The breath.
Mm.
I stunk at meditation. So this is what the guides always tell me. I actually say to myself, if I'm in a moment where I'm triggered or I'm mad or irritated or agitated or whatever it might be, sad, upset, and in a pit, I choose, because my ego will want to sit in that and ferment in it
Mm-hmm.
and be
Yeah.
like, I'm mad. You know, when you hold a grudge and you're like, I'm mad and
Mm-hmm.
I want to be mad. I want to be mad about this. I choose. So I've had to learn to say, Kristen, I choose. What do I choose? Am I going to, when I'm consciously aware of me being like a little brat, do I want to stay in that? Or do
Yeah.
I want to lift myself out of that? And then you go to the breath. And everything is intention based. So
Mm-hmm.
when you breathe in through the nose, it's the intention to breathe in light, love, joy. When you breathe out with a sigh. And when you do that, kind of like you're trying to fog up a window.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the intention of releasing all the crud, releasing the tension, the anger, the whatever it is. Because when you're in it, you can't see the forest through the trees. When
Mm-hmm.
you give
True.
yourself that break and that rest, and the guides say, give yourself 3 to 5 breaths. Some might need more. With your intuitive nudge, what more do you need? But it's a good start, because if you're having a moment, if you're having a day, and
Mm-hmm.
no one will know what you're doing when you're just breathing.
Mm.
You're just
Yeah.
breathing. So you can check in with yourself, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and just sit there and breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the mouth. And it is always good to have divine protection. So we have something called a Merkaba that's surrounding us,
Mm-hmm.
triangle facing up and a triangle facing down. So the masculine and the feminine, and it spins around us. And there are archangels that are of sacred protection that surround us. And you don't have to know their names individually. You can just I call upon the archangels of sacred protection to surround me now, to protect my energy from outside influences.
Mm-hmm.
And you just sit in this serene space after you call them in. And it's archangels Michael, Uriel, Gabriel, and Raphael of the four direction,
Mm-hmm.
Archangel Sandalphon of the below space, and Metatron of the above space. And
Mm.
fully surround you and integrate within your being. And you just see this light that's around you, and you take your breaths. When you have that intention, we have to ask for help. We have to
Mm-hmm.
ask for that protection.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because I grew up being bullied. I was bullied by someone close, very close to me, where I didn't even know what it was till I was in my 30s. Hello. So I mean, I didn't know what it was. And I
Mm-hmm.
always thought I was wrong. They're right, I'm wrong. They're older
Mm-hmm.
than me, they're right, I'm wrong. I'm doing something wrong. There's something wrong with Kristen. And
Mm-hmm.
then I started to realize upon my awakening, and this is why I do this, to be of service to others, because I was my first client. I needed to do this and overcome this. So I want to help other people do it, because
Yeah.
in this world, even in banking, I saw people hoard information so they were the best. They were the smartest and most intelligent. They knew how to do this, and they didn't want to disclose the information to anybody else, or how they got the sales, or whatever it was. We are all interconnected.
Mm-hmm.
Law of attraction is a real thing. What you put out is what you get back. Karma is
Mm-hmm.
very real. It may not hit you now, it could hit you in an alternate life, but it's real. So what you put out there, you get back.
Yeah.
And when
That,
you
and,
put
go ahead.
good things out there, just the joy and the peace you feel from that. Sorry.
No, no, no. I wanted to piggyback on what you said earlier about thoughts create. I think you said, there's such an energy in our thoughts. I think you were talking about that when people were praying for you and to you. And I think that, and I'm really working to do this, just really being intentional about my thinking, not only about other people. And it is
Mhm.
about harnessing that back, because man, our ego just goes and it's like, wait, I've been thinking about this for 15 minutes and I haven't even been aware of it. Right. But also, what am I saying to myself?
Mm.
that energy is going to build internally and it's not good, right?
Yes, I was a closet pessimist. So I love
Mm-hmm.
that you brought that up because I was really a closet pessimist. I would have the face on, but
Mm-hmm.
I would torture myself because
Mm,
of the bullying. I
mm-hmm.
was everyone's Barbie doll.
Yeah.
I kept my hair a blonde color because my great aunt loved that. And if I darkened it, it's what's wrong with Chrissy? So I always would put it back, and my
Mm,
hair was down and I would just torment myself over things.
mm-hmm.
Self-love is so important. It starts here. They talk
Mm-hmm.
about, your body is your temple. It's really true. It
Mm-hmm.
starts here. And then your home is your temple. You want to cleanse your home, clear it, get rid of things that don't serve, move things around like feng shui. You want to move 29 things and freshen up the area and the space. But they talk about shadow work, and shadow work in its simplicity is just those lower vibrational aspects of yourself that you don't want to look at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Bullying, I can't say, oh, I've overcome bullying. I'm good now. No, that sucker comes back. It comes in
Mm-hmm.
layers. There's layers of bullying, and that keeps so, and I'm like, you again? But I look at it as a friend
Yeah.
because it's not here to hurt me in any way. It's here to help me. So we talked about this like right before I think we recorded.
Mm-hmm.
I remember what it felt like being younger and feeling broken.
Mm,
Something was wrong with me. I had nothing to give. I wasn't super intelligent
mm-hmm.
and I felt broken.
Mm,
If you feel broken, I celebrate you because
mm,
you you have to break open in order
mm-hmm.
to rise from that. Think
Yeah.
of the phoenix. That's this journey. We are phoenixes and we have to break and die and
Mm,
rise back up. So celebrate that because there's something, I promise you, it's really beautiful. It doesn't feel that way at all. And this is 150% my practice when I'm in a funk. Guides, Kristen is driving me nuts. I know everything is happening best case scenario, but I can't see the forest through the trees. I can't see how I get out of this. Can you give me some help?
yeah.
You don't have to an incantation and light a candle. We're like, this isn't a movie from like the 1400s or something like that. This is real life, and you talk to them like you would talk to a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Help me.
Yeah.
You ask and it is given,
Mm-hmm.
but we have to have the presence of the moment to have the awareness of where those answers come from. And the
Mm-hmm.
other thing with spirituality is expect the unexpected. We may think, I need this to happen and I'll be happy when syndrome, right? I'll be happy
Mm-hmm.
when I have the love of my life, the job, the body, the whatever else. Be happy now.
Mm-hmm.
Be happy right now in this moment and find what you are grateful for and practice gratitude every morning and every night before bed with the feeling of joy. If you're not feeling the happiness and all of that, don't do it. When you have those feelings of happiness, I say when you wake up and before bed, because that's really,
Mm.
you're starting the day with those feelings and emotions, and then you're ending the day with that, and it's going into your subconscious, unconscious, and that sets, the mood for the following day. But it starts with you. And I
Love
really
that.
had to break myself open
Mm.
order to, because I can honestly say now that I do love myself.
Mm-hmm.
But when you love yourself, it doesn't mean I love myself. Kristen is just, she's perfect. No, Kristen's a hot mess. She's weird, she's quirky, she's crazy, she's a hot mess. And I've learned you got to learn how to laugh at yourself
Mm-hmm.
and to cut yourself some slack and to give yourself grace. It's not
Mm.
always easy because I'll be like, Kristen, you know better than that. And the guides are like, but look, you recognized it and we celebrate you for that.
Give yourself grace. So
Give yourself
important.
grace.
Ah, so important. This was so good. Thank you. Um, I don't know about this, but do you feel like you might want to give us a little message from the other side?
I would love to. I would love to. Let me just sit for just a
I don't
moment.
know if it's for me, for my group, for the audience, for the world, whatever. It doesn't matter to me, but I thought it might be fun.
Yes, I love this. Take a drink of water. And let me just sit for a moment.
Yep.
And I sit for a moment just to cleanse my space, to bring myself to center, to bring myself to my heart space, even putting your hands over your heart to bring that energy in.
Mm.
So I'm starting to cry because when I brought them in,
Mm.
I can intensely feel their love. And I asked them to be with me during this podcast so I could speak from my heart space, my truth, um, which is so much love, and ask that I'm, well received and all of
Mhm.
that. So I cry because when they came in, I can't, I can only describe it in an emotion. They're proud.
Aw.
So it's just this feeling of you can't deny. Oh, here they are. Okay, this is channeling. So I'm gonna have my eyes open, I have my eyes closed. You can't deny those senses that the humans feel. Hear, see, taste, smell,
Mm.
know your thoughts that go through. But please understand, as above, so below is such an important spiritual law because all of these human senses are also psychic senses as well. Michelle feels these because they're talking about very big empath, and you gave the permission, so it's not going into your energy without your permission.
Mhm.
So there's just going to be a lot of messages that come through right now because I do see Jesus, Mother Mary, and Mary Magdalene with you. A lot of angelic energy,
Mm.
but I also feel alternate lives, so alternate yous
Mhm.
in the highest are very much with you. Um, Galactic beings, some call them aliens, I call them galactics.
Mhm.
But there are galactic beings that are with you. There's one being in particular who is Lemurian. She's feminine and she's from
Oh
Lemuria.
my God.
That makes sense.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. Okay, sorry.
You're good. This
Go
is fun.
ahead.
This is all good
You
stuff.
don't even know what's going on. I can't get enough, first of all, of Jesus, Mother Mary, and Mary Magdalene all the time. That's who I feel like is with me. I am obsessed with Lemuria because I know I was there. I can't believe it. Like, I can't believe I'm crying. Anyway, when I watched the movie Avatar, especially the second one and the first one, I cried. The first one bawled my eyes out. And I go, this is reminding me of Lemuria. I think I was in Lemuria. Anyway, sorry.
No,
Let
you're
me
good.
stop.
You're good. This, this,
I
this right
cannot
here.
believe you just said that. I'm sorry. Okay.
Oh, you're good. This is what channeling is all about.
Oh my
Because
God.
I ask for validating evidence. I'm not just going to fling stuff at you that you're like, okay, and be generic. I ask for validating evidence that I have no way of possibly knowing.
You definitely did not know any of that. So, okay. Go ahead. I apologize. I'm
No,
just,
you're good.
woo, that was left field. Okay. I just had to walk off. Okay.
So, with this energy of Lemuria, you are very in tune with your psychic senses. You can feel, you can see the light in others, which can also make it very hard within you because someone will act in a lower vibrational way and you can get very emotional with the but I see it in you. I see the divinity in you.
Mm,
And it can you like you can see it and want to pull it out, but you can't force anyone to do that. But it's like, come on. But with
yeah.
your Lemurian, you have Lemurian guides. They call it a council.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna use my pendulum too. I love a pendulum.
Well,
I
I
love
want
a
to,
pendulum.
I don't want to make this all about me. And I love that. No, I mean, I have pendulums all over the place if you were over here. I have like
Well,
12.
good.
I
Well,
want to ask, and I want to hear again, finish what you're saying, but we have to finish. We also have to end. But I also want to ask just how would the audience open up their channel to do this as well? But please finish what you're saying and just give us a couple, like a two minutes on how can other people do this work?
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
So, calling my guides at the highest good. Yes. So show Michelle my yes and show her my no. So you see the no goes back and forth and the
Yeah.
yes goes in a circle. So I like using the pendulum just for the visual. So you have a Lemurian guides. It's a council. I do see one, which is you, yes, from this alternate life that is a guide for you. Um, and she says, the name that you got for me is real. There's a name, a repetitive name or something like that. And she's like, the name that you have for me is real. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then the connection with the crystals and everything around you. You
Yeah.
just have such a connection with everything around you, very much an energetic healer. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
you're healing by your words, but by your hands as well. You are a healer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and meant to bring forth pivotal change in this
Mm.
period of what humans would call turmoil and uncertainty. So just to
Mm.
validate that
Thank you.
for you.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, I didn't know you were going to give me so much. This
it was
but
a
I hope this takes fear away from anyone that has not ever had a session like this.
yeah.
Really, truly. Like, my cousin is also a medium.
Mhm.
So I've grown up with all of this. And eh, never in my whole life has she ever said anything negative or scary or anything like that. It's beautiful and it's loving. And I feel the love coming through every single time. So thank you. Any
Yeah.
last words though you want to say for the thank you so much. I'm so
You're
honored. I'm
welcome.
like, I can't believe you just said that. Literally, you saw me walk off. Like what? Um,
Well,
but
uh,
for the audience though,
mhm,
how give us like two minutes of what can they do to connect with their higher self, their soul? What would you recommend? And yes, breathe,
mhm,
breath, all the beautiful things. Anything
mhm.
else?
So to have something, think of it like a child. What do children love to do? They love to play. When you are in
Yeah.
a place of you have a loved one that has passed and you are desperate to be able to connect with them. When you are
Hmm.
in desperation, you're going to want, this is how I want you to show up and this is what I want you to do. Release any and all expectations. And this only comes from a place of love. Remember,
Mm,
there's light and dark in everything. So you have to go with what resonates in your heart space when you're
yeah.
having a session with someone or connect with someone.
Yeah.
So comes from a place of love to bring messages of love and joy and to play. It's to bring magic.
Yeah.
Magic is real.
Yeah.
And so the biggest thing I love to do is to play with the guides.
Mm.
So I need to use my pendulum real quick because they're showing me. Okay. Okay. A porcupine. What was the other one? Porcupine and balloons. Okay. So I did this with my students as well, and they're showing me. So for those that are listening, for the next 24, 48 hours, the guides are sending you either a porcupine and or red balloons.
Oh, love
That's just
this.
to let you know that your guides are there and they're with you. It's energy and they're playing. They actually showed me the red balloon and they said porcupine. So that's how they come into me. And I've just learned
Love it.
to recognize that.
Love it.
So play with them and say, okay, guides, I'd love to feel you. And you can sit for a moment when you're in this place of neutrality, not forcing it. You can call your loved ones and or your guides to come close to you. So they're really coming into your auric field.
Mm-hmm.
Sit in that for a moment. What does it feel like? Do you
Mm-hmm.
have an itch on the back of your head? Does your toe
Hmm.
twitch?
Yeah.
It could be anything. Maybe your breathing is more heavy because I'm actually feeling something in my chest right now that is not Kristen's. So
Yeah.
it feels more like you're in a portal. So I don't know if you maybe feel this, and that's why I'm feeling it, because that's what typically happen in a session. So it
Mm-hmm.
might feel like there's more weight on your chest. So they're
Mm-hmm.
saying that is us.
Yeah.
We need
It's
to
weird.
feel.
I feel it too. I don't know why right now as you're saying that. I'm like, wait, that's weird.
So they're having me feel it to
Yeah.
validate for you that that's your guides. So when you call your
Oh,
guides in
thank
close,
you.
so this is
Okay.
guides, yes, loved ones, no. So my yes is on my right, my no's on my left.
Yeah.
I just feel a denseness in the energy. So that's
Okay.
using
Okay.
myself as a pendulum. But
Okay,
they
cool.
had me feel this pressure in the chest that's not mine because they just said not yours and they kept doing it. So it's to
Yeah.
validate Michelle
Yeah.
that that's what the guides will have you feel when their energy comes really close. And you
Okay.
can always say, okay, back away because it can be
Mm.
overwhelming.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
but
for
when you're
sure.
doing, yeah, when you're doing this practice, you can call them in close to you and sit in that for a moment and just be. You're not judging it,
Mm.
just in the moment. What do I feel? What do I don't feel? Is there a color in your mind? Do you hear
Mm-hmm.
a color? Do you know a color that pops in your mind? So yellow or the color of my mom's guides.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So she knows her guides are there when she sees yellow in her mind's eye or flecks of yellow, things like that.
I
But guides, yeah.
I love this, and ask for something and it will be shown. You just have to trust. Like ask for something random and I promise you will see it. Everyone listening, ask for something random.
Ask for
It
something.
will
Don't
show
ask for
up.
feathers. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't ask for, well, you can ask for feathers, but in an amazing way.
Yeah.
And I give them like trippy stuff,
Yeah. Ask for something
trippy.
random. My mom's friend asked for a jackknife. And all of a sudden, every day she kept seeing jackknives in the grocery store. Her friend dropped off a jack. It was a crazy amount of jackknives.
I love.
Okay, rant. Don't ask for a red cardinal. Everyone knows that a red cardinal, that is
Yes.
obviously
Ask
spirit.
for
So
something that you're not going to see. And because
I
I'm in a
love
spiritual
this. Thank
community,
you.
I don't say feathers, like
Thank
so.
you. Oh my God, I could talk to you for hours. Thank you so much for today. This was phenomenal. I can't believe you freaking said Lemuria. I'm literally the last, I just bought another Lemuria book 2 days ago. And I've been listening at night when I wake up, it's on audiobook. That's what I've been listening to. I haven't listened in I haven't read a book from them in a few years. Right now, I'm listening again. And then you bring it up today. So, hello. Where would people find you, my darling, in case they want a session with you or a class or anything? Where would they find you?
You can find me at www.infiniteheartandsoul.com. You can email me from there. You can see services. There are free things. I'm on social media to be able to, I do live readings and things like that.
Oh
So
my
I'm a
God.
bit shy, so I'm starting to come out more with different videos and all of that. But I do put that content out there to help. So
Love it. Thank you. Thank you for coming out with us today.
thank you. Thank you for having me.
So much fun. Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you.